bad news for Let's Go Brandon merchandisers everywhere. Joe Biden has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. That's right. You all know by now. I forecasted this. A lot of us forecasted this. A lot of us were looking at the poll numbers. A lot of people gave me hell about the poll numbers. They said, haven't we learned everything we need to know about poll numbers? We have learned some lessons in the past about poll numbers. This is correct. But poll numbers are still extremely important to politics in general. And politicians still follow the polls regardless of past mistakes. And all the polls, national and otherwise, showed Joe Biden losing. Showed him losing in 7 swing states. Showed him losing in every other state, practically. Showed him losing just in every metric. He wasn't polling. And I know Democrats are overperforming in some races, so a lot of people have confidence. Some of the hardcore Biden-crats. But the majority of the people didn't have that faith. So it's safer to follow the polls in this case. And I called it. And like I said, a lot of us called it. And this is the correct way to go, to just endorse Kamala Harris, which Biden has. Even though I'd rather have an open primary, I'd rather have engage in a real democracy, not donor-funded democracy, because, she's just going to pick up the donor money. It's like over $100 million in Biden's war chest. And that's because the donors, the people, we don't pick the candidates. The donors pick the candidates. You don't live in a true democracy. I'm sorry. I'm just a messenger, but that's a fact. We do not pick. We pick who the donors have picked for us. Total joke. Anyways, the political bar is so low with Donald Trump. We just need somebody out front making the case against Donald Trump, which is something Biden could not do effectively. We all saw the cognitive decline. We all saw the god-awful debates. We all see and hear what was laid out in front of us with Joe Biden running, and it was a disaster. We just need Kamala Harris or any other generic Democrat to point out the most obvious things about Donald Trump, about Project 2025, that Donald Trump is a convicted criminal, that Donald Trump appointed 6 Christo-fascist lunatics to the Supreme Court that overturned Roe, that is attacking contraception. They're going to overturn gay marriage in the future. They're going to attack human rights. They're attacking union rights. They're attacking all of our rights that we've accrued over the past 100 or so years and repealing all of it. We need somebody at the forefront, just a body and a voice that conveys the most basic messages. Donald Trump is a 34-time indicted criminal. We need to have that clearly conveyed to the American public. These are, like I said, this is a low bar. This is an extremely low bar in politics to just point out the obvious. And we couldn't do that with Joseph Robinette Biden, okay? So get over it. This is the way it's got to be. I don't feel bad for him. I'm glad he put country over party, which is something Trump didn't do. But once again, the party is very low. These are very low bar political items. But Harris just has to get up there, or whoever it is, and point out obvious things. January 6th, the insurrection, the fake delegates, the delegate schemes, all the criminality. And luckily for us, if it is Kamala Harris, she is a cop. She's an attorney general, a former attorney general. This is literally her stomping ground, where she's been her whole life. She's been a cop her whole life, and he's a criminal. So that's a wild set of circumstances, the more I think about it. And you know they're going to play on that. I mean, Trump is a sexual predator. That's already been ironed out in courts. The easiest of layups, guys. Biden couldn't do it. And the poor guy, like, it was elder abuse to a degree, in my opinion. Like, forcing this guy for another 4 years upon the public when he cannot convey basic things to the American public, like how bad his opponent is. Come on, guys. We got to fast forward now. Okay? Get over it. Grieve the way you got to grieve. We have to point these things out to the American public because we have short political memories. We live with people. I'm not saying you. I'm saying we live among a lot of people who have short political memories. And they forget about Trump's failure in the pandemic. Okay? We forgot that Trump literally closed down our pandemic response team back in 2018 or 17, right when he got into office. He closed down our pandemic response team. He got rid of it. And then in 2020, boom, we got hit with a once-in-a-century pandemic. That was his fault. That was his failure. And this must be conveyed. And we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it with Joe Biden. It wasn't possible to get a coherent, cogent response or argument against Donald Trump in a debate. Kamala Harris can provide this. A generic Democrat can provide this. The bar is incredibly low, folks. You just got to trip over the bar. You're not jumping hurdles that are 6 feet high here. You got to trip over the freaking hurdle. And we couldn't do it with Biden. So, I'm optimistic that Trump will lose, but there's still a lot of work to do. Harris's polling is very low right now. She has to build up. And luckily, she can. She's a coherent person who can make the case, who can campaign. Once again, we're talking about that low political bar. Just to get on the campaign trail effectively and convey messaging, reminding the American public who have very short, mosquito-like memories, as Donald Trump is trying to reframe himself as a good guy or the good guy or the good bad guy or whatever he's trying to reframe himself as, convincing the American public. We just have to point out who this guy is and what he's done. And we can do that now. That's a great thing. It's a low bar. It's a great thing, though. We actually have a steady low bar we can get over. We're not tripping up Air Force One steps to get there anymore, guys. Isn't that great? I have my own opinions about Harris. For those of us who followed the 2020 primary, and we went through a lot of things with Harris, and I'm not even going to talk about it in this video. I'll talk about another video. It doesn't even matter, though, because they've put us in this situation where Donald Trump is a viable candidate and he needs to be defeated. It doesn't matter who it is. Generic Democrat, Kamala Harris, freaking Santa Claus, it doesn't matter. They've put us in this situation where we have a rigged two-party system, and one of two things is going to happen in November. Either Donald Trump is going to win or Donald Trump is going to lose. This is an issue of practicality. This is a base. Once again, I'm going to keep bringing up the low bar. This is another low bar we got to clear. Because one of those two things is going to happen regardless of your ideology, regardless of my ideology, regardless of whatever team you are on politically. One of those two things are going to happen come this November. So make the right choice. you're going to vote against unbridled Christo-fascism because you're a sane person who likes democracy, as fragile and marginalized as it is in America. We want a chance to build on democracy in the future, right? Well, that's not going to happen with Donald Trump. He's going to consolidate the executive branch as Project 2025 lays out in its 900-page manifesto that's publicly online. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's going to happen. Donald Trump is out on the stump saying, I don't know about this. These things sound extreme. And he's trying to downplay it. But those are his people. The people who wrote Project 2025 worked in the Trump administration. This guy is dangerous. They've put us in this situation. Sometimes you got to flush twice. Okay? So flush the turd in November. Anyways, I hope you're having a lovely day, a lovely summer. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Hope you're getting outside, getting some nature. I'm about to go for a walk and enjoy my day. Talk to you in the comments.